This is the Wild Fen Video Yearbook. The purpose of this, other than for myself to look back and see how silly I was and see how much I did eventually get done, is to share with people who are considering similar projects. This is a major experiment. I'm not a farmer. I'm hardly a beekeeper, and I've decided almost on a whim to be a farmer and a beekeeper. To the people that know me, it seems that it happened that fast. Fen, muck, mire, swampy place, Old English for a bunch of not so pretty things, but beautiful word, I think. A year ago in August, I came through the tree line and saw this. I was looking for land in Vermont or New Hampshire. I wanted to start a small farm. This was not what I had envisioned, but I was immediately inspired. This is the inspiration for the name Wild Fen. While it's debatable that this is actually a fen, the flow that leads into it most certainly is. It's defined by water perking up through mineral-rich soil, stone in this case, calcium-based bedrock, and producing a flow of water that's neutral in pH. Also supports a large variety of plant and animal life. The beaver flow here is actually a disruptive component of that, but the beaver have abandoned this place. The dam is in deterioration, and just in 1 year the grasses are creeping back, and I'm sure in a couple years I'll see the trees are creeping back in. And this will continue to be a wet, marshy area. This is also the point from which I drew my first water to irrigate the trees. I planted trees in April. By May they needed water. I was coming down here with spackle buckets and carrying them up the hill, and I decided real quick that that wasn't going to cut it. Next step was to put in a filtered pump system by digging a pail into the muck and putting a screen on the top. That worked really well, except I needed to do quite a bit of tending to that system. It was about 300 feet a run, 600 feet in total by the time I spread it out to the trees, and something like 30 feet vertical lift, which I broke into 2 stages, one about 16 and 16. It was difficult. Fortunately, I won't have to do that next year. I have a well now, and I plan to pump out of that for irrigation. But it's something anybody that's homesteading or starting a small farm really needs to consider. Where's the water, and how are you going to get it to the plants? How are you going to get it to yourself for domestic needs? It takes tremendous power to move water, even just a little way. Okay, so this apiary holds 12 hives, 12 colonies. It has a net fence around it. It's electric. It's the primary protection for the bees. We have an interesting combination of things going on. Some of the hives are very healthy and rolling. I lost this hive with the rope on top. It just swarmed itself to death. In the back we have a few that I'd say are on the bubble. Last time I checked, I believe there's 4 that are queenless. Up front here we have what I think are a few very healthy colonies. I don't want to bother them too much. I'm going to wait another week before I open them up. But I like the activity.
They're liking the weather. 65 degrees today, mostly sunny. Got a couple of honey supers on some of the hives that I think might produce. It might be nice to take 20 or 30 pounds of honey. So in closing, I have 7 hives I believe are going to have a good shot at surviving the winter. I have 4 hives on the bubble and more on the decline than on the bubble, and 1 hive that is just gone, dead. I'll have a quick look at some of the trees next.
What I have right now is 18 orchard trees, 3 different varieties each of apple and pear, 3 trees of each variety. There's also a couple apricot trees, Adirondack gold apricots. So that's 20 fruit trees. There's also 3 black walnut trees, which they're not really suited to the area. They may not be here in the spring, we'll see. I also have staked out for an additional 15 trees for next year. So I'm going to step this up. Small orchard, farm market orchard. I have calculations on how many bushels it'll produce. It should be relatively productive, but by orchard standards, certainly tiny. All staked out, all planted. They all did well this year. Had some fungal problems and had some insect problems, but they survived it. They even showed some growth in their first transplant year. The idea is to go organic here, so I will have fungus and insect problems from time to time because this land is currently certified organic and I want to keep it that way. That's how I prefer to grow. The interesting part of this will be folding the permaculture, companion planting in up here. Over the winter, I'm going to carefully research it, but this entire orchard will be companion planted with wild flowers, some vegetables, and some browse for wildlife even. It is currently being hayed by the guy who's hayed it for years. He uses a natural compost to fertilize it, and that's what he's done. He's putting it to sleep for the fall. I'm happy with the arrangement. He takes care of it. He takes care of it properly. I'm not ready to grow onto it. I'm going to have a real adventure here, and that's going to be next year when I start moving more in the direction of the permaculture model, when I start introducing companion plants and change everything that's going on in what now is what I'd refer to as like a pretty sterile orchard. You know, just trees right now and hay, but that's going to change in a major way. The things I'd planned for and anticipated with this project are not at all what I experienced and am experiencing. Every aspect of this has involved rethinking, retooling, and worst of all, expenses that I did not foresee or plan on. Fortunately, it's a small enough project and the timeline is such that those expenses aren't going to sink me or discourage me. There is a learning curve, and it hasn't been cheap. The real challenge has been water, and I have the camera set up basically in the middle of the orchard, and I have these blue water rings set up. That's the final delivery system for the water, but at best, at the end of this season, I was dragging hoses to each one of these and monitoring a gravity feed from a galvanized tub at the top of the hill to ensure that I was giving equal water to the plants, which is just ridiculous and took an incredible amount of time. next year is a little different, the well.
The tent's coming down in 2 days, and it's served me well since early May. Nobody's messed with it. It's been here set up, and I move in and move out as I need. I'm going to attempt a little tour here. Okay, so heading into the tent. Have my kitchen table there. So I was saying, this Davis Tent Company tent. Sofa. And this is really nice because when it's cold out, I just keep that going. A water tank on the side. Holds about 5 gallons. Stainless steel tank. Just full-time hot. Humidifies the tent at the same time providing hot water. In the morning you fill a bowl, you wash your face, and make your coffee, and make some soup in the afternoon. It's always there, it's always ready. Experiment 3052. I lost my 17 minutes of sunshine today, so it's time to take down the wall tent, and hopefully it doesn't rain on me because I got a bunch of stuff in there that I don't want wet, and I don't want the tent wet. But 17 minutes of sunshine for the week. It's gone. Time to get to work.